Coming to you from an undisclosed illegal Google Hangout window.
Oh,
It's 100 Talk. We were so worried because we've used Google Hangouts for the show for the entire run.
Yeah.
And we learned this week that Google Hangouts was officially depreciated.
or so they said.
And guess what? We are still live on Google Hangouts. And do you know what that probably means? That probably means we're going to get excellent bandwidth.
That's probably true. That we got the full. This is the fiber that we're getting dedicated right now. It's as big as a fiber as big as your head. That's the size. It's the cable they run across the ocean. You know.
Yeah, exactly. It's dedicated to just Google Hangouts, which is now used exclusively by Jordan and I.
That's right.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to 100 Talk. We're going to make good use of that dedicated, thick fiber optic cable running across the ocean. Why would it need to go across the ocean? For our purposes.
It's for what from when Erdoro plays record.
Yeah, that's right. That's Erdoro's direct connection to our League of Legends lobbies. That's right. Okay.
That's
all right.
Good.
So what are we going to do tonight? Tonight we're going to talk, I think, first about the Reapered news from today. Yes, you already heard it. Reapered has officially left 100 Thieves. We're also going to talk about just our general thoughts on some things with the roster direction, perhaps some scene things overall. And then hopefully we'll have time to talk about our experience in Atlanta meeting up with, what did that end up being? It was like 1,800 talkers that we hung out with while we were there, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Plus or minus a few meetups here and there in the venue. And then our thoughts on the finals and our thoughts on the apparel drop that happened. So lots of stuff to talk about. We'll see how long we go and see what we get to, but we definitely want to lead with the story of the day about Reapered. So he's gone. And I think we kind of knew that this was coming, right? Like the signs were there about money, and then the leak happened that we were signing. I don't know if you even pronounce it Cass or Koss or whatever, Mad Lions coach. We didn't know in which capacity that signing is supposed to be. It says as a coach, but we have lots of assistant coach staff, and until today we had a head coach as well. So
this is actually great. Me not being on Twitter, this is news to me. So
you didn't know this leak, huh?
No. But isn't this the joke that we watch Mad Lions VODs?
Yes, that exactly was the joke.
So there we go. It's come full circle. This is good news. This is great.
Yeah. Let me see. Actually, perhaps someone has that tweet handy and can drop it to me. I'm looking through my DMs because I know people always DM me these tweets. But I don't seem to have that one handy. Anyway, if someone finds it, you want to toss it in the chat, we can show Jordan this. This was I think reported by Wooloo. I want to make sure that that's the case. It was reported by somebody, and they also said, as BC's pointing out, that Busio being promoted to the LCS roster was a thing.
Also confirmed.
Yes. So
wow.
Confirmed by that report.
Dang.
Josh, I get like 1 billion of those mentions and stuff, so I can't. It's not at the top of my Twitter list at the moment, but
this is good though. This is like the for those who watched last podcast on the left, I am the guy who knows nothing about what we're going to talk about tonight on tonight's show. Just my real-time reactions,
Yeah, you get to live through it with Jordan.
That's right.
Yeah,
relive the moment.
Biddy's posting the Reapered tweet. Well, we can bring that up while we wait. If someone can find the tweet about the report about Busio and Koss, that would be awesome. But in the meantime, let's take a look at, hopefully we get it to work, this here tweet from Reapered. Yep, today, this is from the 100 Thieves esports Twitter. Today we part ways with Reapered. Within 3 splits, Hangi was able to reinvent 100T League of Legends, making 3 finals appearances and coaching this team through our first championship title. Forever grateful, wishing you the best. That we do.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on not even about the departure, but just Reapered in general.
I mean, you can't at all question his accomplishments. Okay, I'm gonna revise that already. People will question his accomplishments. He brought us a trophy. I consider that to be the only thing that really matters at the point in time that your tenure ends. He accomplished something that had never been done before. He got a franchise era team a trophy. EG was quick on our heels to keep that one going, but we were there first, and I feel like that's a big thing. So yeah, like I don't think you can look at the totality, the body of work there, and say anything other than thanks. That was great, and now we move on.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously everything he said, you can't dispute it. I feel personally very grateful that we had him during this time. Now, if
Yeah.
you rewind back to when Reapered was let go by C9, he actually sat dormant for, I think it was just a split. But presumably he was a fairly in demand coach, and sitting dormant was either a choice to just take a break, or perhaps he cost a lot of money and people weren't willing to pay that at the time, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm, you guys know how I feel about this with 100 Thieves moves so far. It has definitely seemed to signal a shift in less spending. I think it's kind of hard to look at Reapered and what we did as an LCS team and think, we needed to get rid of that guy.
No.
I'm sure that things weren't perfect, and certainly we didn't meet expectations in some regards, right? Like that's fair.
Yeah.
But on the whole, thought we were, as much success as we've ever had as an org. And presumably, I think money is going to be a huge driver to this decision. And, Reaper, good dude, good coach, deserves good money, and hope he gets that elsewhere if he finds another landing spot. But I think for now, we wait to see exactly what's going on. Now, if Cass or Koss, I really wish I knew how to say it, is going to be head coach.
Cash. It's
Then
like Renata Gloss.
Gloss, Renata Glask. Glosk.
His name's Cass.
Yeah. With depending on where he lands, like things could feel a whole bunch different, but working with the Mad Lions roster, we presumably would be in good hands, right? So it's sad for me to say goodbye to Reaper, but it seems to me that we know the reason why, and it's probably green, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And
that is the tweet from BC there, if you want to put that up.
Yeah, I will in a second. Well, if we want to read through these tweets from Reaper really quick, he says, now I'm a free agent. After starting my coaching career, I went to the finals every year, and I'm the coach who participated in Worlds the most. Please feel free to contact me whenever you need my help, whether it's a team or a business company. I want to meet many people, learn many things while I'm not on the team. I'm planning to visit Korea and Japan soon, and would like to meet and talk with Korean and Japanese teams or business companies as well, even if I don't belong there. If you are a person or company or team in NA, Korea, or Japan who want to talk about esports team management, share experience in business, build up some relationship with me, I would like you to contact me comfortably. So looks like he is maybe targeting some regions for where he ends up, and good for him. And I hope he finds a little bit of a bag, to go with that, because I like when people get paid some money.
I'm guessing that some of those the spendy LCS teams will do their best to get him, right? You got to imagine.
Yeah, you would.
But if you're still in splash the cash mode, splash the cash LCS 2023, then you're gonna take your shot. You want Reapered.
Right.
Like who else domestically? Who else would you want to target above him? I don't know.
So here's the tweet that you are seeing for the first time. So former Mad Lions coach Cass is expected to join 100 Thieves as coach by 2023. Academy support Busio said to be promoted to the main 100 Thieves team. So this seems fairly legit, right? With the reporting, it's certainly got a lot of attention. We don't know for sure that this is, true. but it would appear that there's a verbal agreement in place for that thing. I think what Busio going to LCS, I think would surprise nobody. In fact, Peter Dunn said that Busio was, quote, definitely LCS next year. So presumably that's
his
for
record.
us.
Peter Dunn.
Yeah.
That dude. He knows talent.
So I think that's where we're at right now with the Reapered thing. I feel like I feel a little sad, but it just going along with what we've seen, what the signs are. This is totally understandable to me. It's totally, it's totally expected. I'm not surprised by this news today. I am a little surprised that it happened a little later. I would have thought right around the time where we announced we were letting Papa Smithy go that maybe this would have happened too. So, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they don't have it all tied up yet. That's, like this window is still young.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of these details end up becoming kind of last minute. This depends on that. Depends on the dominoes all falling into place.
Maybe we should use that as a jump off point to just talk about where we're at with the roster right now too. Because I don't think everybody agrees with you in that respect. You're like, you're saying the window's young. It seems like a lot of other people believe that the roster moves are happening slowly and things are being held up and players are not committed yet for the whole LCS.
Okay.
Right.
The whole LCS.
And I think
Worlds just ended, guys.
It did just end.
Just the other day.
Yeah, but we have been out of it for a while. NA has been out of it for a while. And we know that those dominoes start to fall despite, the actual signing period coming later in the month. But yeah, I excuse me. I think like there is a general sense from people that we don't have enough information, right? And like things aren't like everyone's eager to know what's happening and patience is low. And I think that is heightened when it is apparent that things are going to change in a major way. Right. Especially because if you wait to get these things done, it gets harder and harder, right? Because everything has to fall into place. And if you're waiting for somebody else and then they make a different decision, that may affect your dominoes down the line. So I think, again, if you look at like the 100 Thieves esports Reddit, which I wouldn't recommend in general, but it definitely seems like people are clamoring for more attention to the league team, more news about what we're doing, wanting to know who the new GM is, if we've hired that person, lots of stuff, right? And yeah, I've seen some tweets, even from our very own 100 Talkers, responding to 100 Thieves Twitter accounts and everything, a little bit maybe salty about the apparent lack of attention or resources going to the team. So I think everything's in a really, really interesting spot for 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
What can you do here if you're the org? Because if you are indeed blowing it up for a rebuild, no one's going to be happy about that. That's not like fun news to deliver, right?
Yeah.
If you have some good stuff in your pocket, people are also not happy because you're not communicating about it, right?
They got to get off that train real quick.
I know, right?
Are you okay? You can't announce that you've signed Zeka before he wins the trophy. That you can't get ahead of that.
That's Jordan's prediction for the roster is that
100 Thieves Zeka is
happening.
At least a couple days to celebrate with his friends and family, No, that's a product of people having unrealistic expectations. I mean, like, okay, everybody has been talking to the people who are available for the last, I don't know, probably call it 6 weeks, right? Like that's when the bulk of the players, are open to those conversations. I'm guessing.
But
some of them earlier.
Riot says that can't happen yet.
Oh. Yeah, Riot says. Riot says that because they haven't been contacted by C9 or TL yet to
to arrange
explain
for rule explanation.
to break the news that they've been caught doing that. And so could we please put our heads together here and come up with some kind of presser?
Can you
Gonna
please
need a
arrange for us
twit
to offer
longer.
ownership stakes?
Yes. Yeah. Look, it's not gonna look good. We're talking a lot of ownership. We're talking cash bonus if they decline this other offer. No. So that stuff's been going on. Yeah, and it has. You can you can remove that notion from your head that nobody's been talking about anything. But you certainly can't announce anything yet. It's out the window. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel that to me doesn't feel delayed at all. Doing all these big leaks and stuff, or to start, making announcements as a team, like during Worlds. It just feels, classless. Don't want to do that. It's stealing the thunder, right? And this is the part where you tell me all the different teams that are doing that.
I was just gonna say League of Legends, the scene known for class.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like decorum, you're like, come on, don't flip your bat. We have more class than that, Cole. So now is the floodgates should open now. Like this is when you're going to start to get stuff.
This is really interesting though. Given the state of the scene, right?
Yeah.
Seems like people don't want to spend any more money. Resources are being pulled back. It's not just a 100 Thieves thing, it's everybody thing. What if the reason why things are moving slowly is because players are adjusting to the reality of what's out there?
That could
My
be.
one hope in this situation, because I feel very sure, and hey, I've been wrong before. I felt very sure that we would never buy a $25 million Call of Duty team. Lo and behold, we felt the need to do that. But I feel very sure that we are not spending as much money in this upcoming year as this year. But what may be happening, as we pointed out, our timing for this kind of thing is really, really convenient and good because everybody's in the same boat. It's not just 100 Thieves that reached this point where it's like, all right, well, our investors are telling us to play this tighter. They're going to, we don't have like another round of cash infusion coming up. We need to be better. We need to be leaner. Everybody's experiencing the same thing, right? So for years, the player salaries ballooned in NA beyond what was reasonable, and everybody knew it. It was not a secret. So with that presumably crashing, maybe part of the reason why things are taking a long time is that players are being confronted with a new reality. Your contract is not going to be what it was 2 years ago.
Right.
You know? So hopefully that's what's happening. Maybe both things are true. Maybe 100 Thieves is spending way less money, and maybe they're also still lining up good talent at that price.
Yeah. I think those are both possible.
I don't think so, but maybe. I still think that we're probably going to be a little sad about the roster when it comes to the name value or whatever. But hey, maybe they'll get. Maybe they'll give us a great group of charismatic guys and lots of content to go with.
Hey, would you take that, Cole? But would you take a team that's not going to win Worlds with some content?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I don't mean... I just say that as if I am super critical of 100 Thieves in that regard, and I'm not. Like, I'm only moderately critical because I think the league audience is so fickle and it's hard to make content for everybody. You know, it's just, and you're never going to relive the heist. You're just never going to do that. But, a little bit would be good. Yeah. little bit would be fun. Might be nice to get to know our players.
And we're gonna have some getting to know to do, I think. Um, question for you: who is? What's the consensus on who's spending? I talked to the flight check boys. Hello, flight check boys and girls. And they said that maybe they're spending a little bit more than last year.
Yeah.
But is it like it's TL who's going to spend? It's C9. Are they still spending? TSM is they're working on Reggie's house sale. If that comes through, they'll spend. Like, what are they? What's the plan?
So, from my understanding, which is weak at best, seems
Yeah.
like C9 is going to continue to spend. And that's about it. Though I did hear earlier today, it was said that FlyQuest may be spending a little bit more, bumping up a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a product of the new ownership. If it is, I am so sorry for that ownership. They don't know what they're getting into. but it might mean a fun season for the flight check boys. So good for good for them.
Here's the point I think is worth making, and it's kind of an elaboration on what you're saying. If you are one of these great NA players, this is a long list of them, right? And you're like, I got my new Lambo. I'm ready to have a good 2023. Let's go. And then you sit at your phone, right? Imagine like NFL draft style. You're sitting by the phone and it rings once and it's your mom. And then it doesn't ring again. There's just nobody out there who's going to be willing to pay you the kinds of things that you are used to, unless you're on the C9 radar. And it sounds likely that they're going to be looking to do some imports, and so I can't imagine that the domestic talent market is going to be nearly as hot as it once was, like last year, 2 years ago. So you're going to have a lot of players who are going to have to be like, what is their bargaining position now? It's kind of one of these things without dare I say some kind of like players union, or I don't know, any kind of representative body. The teams just get to do whatever they want. And if you don't want to play League of Legends anymore professionally, if it's not worth enough to you, then I suppose you could try to get into Fortnite or something. I don't know. I'm sure they're still spending like $3 billion a year trying to make that relevant, right? Like that's still their plan.
Who knows?
At Epic.
Who knows? Epic prints money, so probably.
Yeah. But I think that's real, right? And so I think what you're saying, there's probably something to that, which is I might have come with a number at the start of this window, and then very quickly realized that there's nobody who's going to be paying that kind of money for a domestic League of Legends player at this point. And so maybe now I'm revising my number. Maybe I'm doing some of that.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Well, it is possible, and we can only hope that any delays in news or leaks are due to a recalibration of expectations from players. If it's global, man, there could be something to that. Unfortunately, we're not really going to know. We may not know ever, but we're definitely not going to know in the short term. So I don't know. I've set my expectations really low because I am tired of being hurt. I'm too old for that. I'm too old to get hurt.
Yeah.
And now, if we get, someone asked in chat, how we feel if we get a full Academy roster? I mean, look, I am going to be sad if we say goodbye to any of the guys on our roster because I like all of them a lot. But I'm going to be fine with it. I'm going to be fine with full rebuild. So if they are able to work some magic, maybe, there hasn't been much about 100 Thieves out there, really. Maybe if they're able to wheel and deal and create some magic, we get something better than just Academy players moving up, right? And in that case, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But if all we have to look forward to next year is like Busio transitioning to LCS, that's fun enough. That's fun enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting to win. And hey, if C9 is the only team spending, maybe everybody will be just worse, and we can still have a chance. I mean, look what happened to TL, right? They did not make Worlds after having on paper what should be the craziest roster. Maybe our young guys are going to be super cracked if we get them,
I really thought for a second you were going to say, look what happened to DRX. They were in play-ins and they just won. So maybe play-ins is the way to go. We should be happy about play-ins in the future.
Yep. Just all you got to do is be the 4th seed in Korea.
That's right. That's right.
That's the most coveted seed.
Should we talk about like what we hope to see at this point? What we're I mean,
sure, but I will preface that by saying, because my expectations are so low, so are my hopes. And and I don't even have like really concrete, here's what I want to see. Other than here's what I want to see. I want to see a new bot lane. Okay. Busio moving up, I think that's amazing. I think, everything that's said about Busio is he has the potential to become a star in the LCS. So can't be mad at that. Let's roll the dice. Let's go.
Yeah.
I think despite having some really great times with our bot lane, it seemed to me that it was evident that they just didn't have it in them anymore in the same way, which is really sad because I like, again, everybody that's on our roster I really, really like. But I think that's the most, this should change.
Mm-hmm.
So give me Busio, give me virtually anybody in the bot spot. Like I'm not too picky. In the mid lane, I would prefer to have like a strong import in the mid lane. Whether that's Abba or somebody else. I know a lot of people are out on Abadaga. I can understand that. I do rate Abadaga lower than I used to, based on what we've seen in the playoffs and in Worlds. But I still like him, and I still would easily keep him if it was affordable, which I don't think it's going to be. Closer would be the one thing I would keep. If I could keep just one single thing, I would keep Closer. As much as I love Some Daddy, my favorite 100 Thieves player of all time, I think at some point we got to cut the cord. He's playing as good as ever, but I don't know. I think it's easier to rebuild something around a jungler than around a top laner. And if we're going to rebuild, then it's time to do that. And then, so with Someday presumably gone in top lane, let's play without a top laner in his memory. Those are my ideas.
We field 4.
Out of respect to him. You know how they do that in college football games? They'll like start -1 player in someone's memory.
I've never seen that. That's great.
They'll do stuff like that. I think we should just do that for the whole year.
I was thinking that we could retire, but instead of retiring like his name, like there'll never be 100T someday, we just retire at the top lane. Like there will never be
the position.
Another.
There will never be another 100 Thieves top laner for as long as we live.
That's great. That's great. Cost saving. I think it'll save you some dollars. That'll do. Sure. Are you more willing to hang on to Closer and let go of Someday? Is there any assumption you have that tenacity plays a role in this, or are you?
My honest opinion about tenacity is I think he's going to be starting for an LCS team, but if we are pulling back resources, tenacity may actually demand a lot of money. And he may be valuable as like a young domestic prospect. So we may have to pick between him and Busio on who we're committing to. Sounds like we're committing to Busio already. And I think I'm good with that. I love tenacity. I would love to, if we're getting rid of Some Daddy, that's probably who I want to be there. Yeah. But I just don't know.
Boy, it's going to feel real sad. So this is a good bridge to the next topic that's related to this one, but it's going to feel so sad if we finally get to the point of someday, being memorialized forever in the League of Legends Hall of Fame, and probably still playing for somebody else because he's still amazing, and we don't get tenacity. Like that would be the ultimate letdown for 100 Thieves fans.
That's fair.
It's like years we've been saying like tenacity. He's the 6th man on the roster. He has the top 60 ladder spots in EU West. He just keeps making new accounts and climbing all the way up. How does he do this? Um, and if we just never got to see him play for us, that'd be pretty bummer. That'd be. But
Yeah, but remember the talent carousel that we have. It's like, hey, we've got Tenacity behind Someday. Maybe we should bench Someday and start Tenacity. Oh, we got Sniper behind Tenacity. Oh, maybe we should. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, yep,
you can't have all of your prospects playing for you at the same time. You know, you can't start all three of those guys. So, you know, I don't know. Sniper obviously is ineligible to play for now, but yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay.
What about
Well,
you?
when
I said a lot of stuff.
yeah,
What about you?
when I asked you, I didn't know if you'd go so far as to do like position by position. But I appreciate that you did. Credit for that. I'm more thinking like in general. So I like you. I've resigned myself to whatever it is that happens because it seems clear enough that it won't be um, just a slight tweak on on what we had this year. So that's fine. I'm ready for that. What I'd really like to see is I think it's got to be all about the messaging.
Yeah.
Like again, you like kind of put
Good
any team
luck.
out there. You put any team out there, but I think we got to message it right. And this feels like a weird thing to prioritize, kind of near the top, but I really do think it is. Um, it has like the thing that's going to be a real bummer is if we get through midway through this spring split and it's still unclear. I remember pods we've done in the past where we're just not really sure what they're trying to do here. What is it that they're actually going for? What's the strategy? Like, what's the plan? So I think that would be a huge bummer. If we got through the split kind of feeling like, are we just buying time for the future, like roughing out the
Firepower, right?
the LCSCs? Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
Um,
Papa.
so I want to see some clear messaging. And here's an example of how not to do this. Uh, I'm expecting something like a developmental roster, and I think that word, that phrase is pretty doomed in
Yes.
the LCS scene.
Cursed
Like
phrase.
it's yeah, TSM has cursed that phrase for everybody. But this is what we can't do. We can't tiptoe into the developmental roster pool and then realize halfway in that it's actually like lukewarm and not that good. And then jump out as fast as we can and just like hire whatever free agents we can find, splash cash for somebody like, I just want to see us declare what we're doing and then do it, recognizing that it won't feel as good as being in back-to-back-to-back finals. Probably. That's not part of my measure of success here, right? But I think that we've seen TSM again. I'll name names. Like teams want to do that. They want their fans to be okay with that. And then they start losing games and it's like a crisis. Like you you can't let that happen. That's something that you let happen because you didn't communicate to people what to expect. So that's my legitimately my number one concern right now is just that this is the beginning of a vicious cycle of we're losing games, so we're making changes, so we're losing games and we're making changes, and then it's like we don't even have anything that resembles uh, something close to familiar. That
So,
would be a bummer.
so in other words, let the boys play.
Let the boys play. Let them lose, right? Like just let them go out there and get beat. But please don't pull somebody up from academy on Wednesday and say to them, our expectations are low because it's a tough time. And then when they have two subpar games, you send them back to academy, and shortly thereafter, everyone's forgotten that they were ever even a player. Like
Yeah.
we gotta make sure we're not doing that stuff because that's happened too often around the league. And I think that's how you really dig yourself into a hole when you're in this kind of situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope the messaging is coherent and um also matches what our actions actually are. We haven't had a lot of that in the past, to be honest. Though it was great while we were winning, we didn't really have to answer for that problem. But certainly it was like, or even, we did see it this year with Tenacity in the 6-man roster, right?
Yeah.
And I am not faulting the decision to just play Someday and forget about playing Tenacity, because Someday was killer. And it was obviously the right decision. Okay.
Right.
But it's just, let's just be real positive, consistent with the messaging. Yes, I definitely would like to see that. If we are developing, I'm 100% on board with you. Let's actually give them time. And that means we as fans have to kind of shut up. Yeah. All right. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. And then hopefully after sucking for a while, we learn some things and it gets better. Like that's just the reality. But we can't just be like, well, you know what? Let's just bring Mr. Beast in and buy every player. This sucks. I don't like losing.
It's been 3 weeks and we've already lost 2 games. We've matched our losses from it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And Agumame in chat says it's easier to shut up when the messaging actually makes it clear what the plan is. And I 100% agree with you. So,
yes.
So let's do a little verbal contract here between the fans and the org. All right. If you will, let us act as surrogates.
Yep.
From the org, we ask for clear messaging, a clear plan, and sticking to that plan and seeing it through.
Yep.
In return, we offer our shutting up about whining and complaining. Yes. We, the undersigned under Thieves fans. I guarantee you there will be whining and complaining no matter what happens.
I think all we can do.
So let's just carve out in the contract language that we're not talking about the 100 Thieves Reddit, because we cannot control those people.
They are not represented by anyone, so far as I can tell. Not even themselves.
So, yeah, that's what we're looking at, and it's probably going to be rough. I don't want to get too deep into further rumors. Like, there have been some other rumors about what may happen with the roster. I think the fact is no one knows right now. I doubt 100 Thieves knows right now what's actually happening.
I'm sure they don't have it all figured out exactly. That's fine.
Drex says, I guess we trust in the dads since there's no more Papa. Even better. Instead of getting to trust one dad, now you get to trust 2.
Trust the dads.
Yeah, trust the dads. Oh gosh, we got to figure out whatever the next thing
trying
is.
Times.
Yeah.
I do got to say, I heard this again to draw an analogy to traditional sports, because I think it's important to keep doing this. I read a write-up about a team. I believe it was maybe Cole. Was it maybe the Jets? And this is what it said.
My goodness.
Insert team name here. Maybe the Jets are ahead of schedule. This is a profound concept that I would like to introduce to esports fans. The idea that there is a schedule that you are expected to progress through, that that you won't be as good as you'll ever be the moment your roster is assembled. This idea that over time you can actually make improvements, and that being on schedule is also an acceptable path to walk. Being ahead of schedule considered in this case to be the bonus, So I just wanted to I want to throw that out there, something we could all try to wrap our heads around.
What a pipe dream. What a pipe dream.
Right though, like, this is such a common thing in traditional sports for a team to have like a great signing, a really promising rookie or prospect, and then for you to give them time to grow into. So this is what's gonna happen. If we are fortunate enough to have some combination of Busio and or Tenacity, they're going to go out there and they're going to have a not great game. People are going to be like, pfft.
Oh, Jordan of little faith. No, I'm just kidding.
What about Carrier? Why didn't we try to get him this offseason? What are we doing?
He was clearly unhappy. They made that clear on the broadcast.
Yeah, I saw. You're telling me we couldn't have called him that night and offered him?
While he was crying.
He was in NA. We weren't there to offer him a
100 Thieves custom blanket and a contract.
Yeah, so please let's not
Alphabet soup.
not swap
100
Busio
Thieves
out
spelled
for,
out in the alphabet soup. Come get cozy and
that's when you know
it'll be okay.
This is the team for me.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna have a lot more to say roster wise as time goes on. Maybe we'll get a GM announcement, and then we can talk about that.
At some point we will. I fully expect that. Yep.
And then we'll react to some leaks, I think, when they happen. But Jordan and I are just not much on endless speculation or playing the armchair GM game. One, we know we're stupid about it. Two, it's an exercise in futility. So we preach patience. We're going to practice patience.
That's right.
So that being said, do you want to talk about? We can talk about Atlanta and the semis and the finals, or we can talk about the apparel. What do you want to go?
Should we hit it all? Like we might not.
Well, yeah. But what next? What next?
Let's do Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay.
Atlanta.
Actually, yes. Atlanta was incredible.
Mm.
I think so. Jordan and I picked Jordan up from the airport in Nashville on Friday, and we hung out for a night. We actually played Overwatch 2 and had some fun, didn't we?
Yeah,
I was very surprised. But then in the morning, we packed up and we drove into Atlanta, and we went to whatever it's called, like Das Biergarten.
Biergarten. Yeah.
Picked out by Biddy. Shout out Biddy for arranging it and making this whole thing happen. And so it was kind of cool because we ended up being late, right? We got stuck in traffic really bad. So we were rolling up this thing, I don't know, 30 minutes behind, something like that.
Shameful, but yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And lo and behold, we walk into, there were like 14 people there waiting for us. Amazing. 1,400 talkers, something along those lines. In fact, let me see if I can get this up here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It works. Yeah. Look at this photo. Look at these 100 talkers.
What a photo.
And there were some more too that are not pictured, but including me. By the way, I'm standing on the table taking the picture. But I gotta say, it was a moment to come up there and see everybody. It was kind of awesome. It was like, dang, everybody actually got together in person, and we're all just having a good time and sitting around, like doing what we do in a Discord server in real life. Man, This was one of my favorite things that's ever happened as part of the podcast.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, easily. Just such high quality individuals across the board.
Yeah.
That's the 100 kids
guarantee.
Guarantee. That's right. Guarantee.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody who made it there. I know that there were some people who were not able to make it who wanted to, and hopefully we get to do something like that again. But we got to hang out there. We got to go to the venue and kind of just, vibe and whatever. We had a family dinner that night at the hotel, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody spread out, kind of got food and brought it back to our hotel where like 2/3 of us were staying. And we got to just sit around, and it was so awesome. I had such a good time on this trip. And on top of that, the League of Legends was so good.
It was outstanding.
T1 JDG was the matchup. And we got to see Faker go in. We got to see Gumayushi go in.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Hope? Wasn't that the
Hope Aphelios? Yeah. For JDG.
Just completely took over the game that they won.
Yeah.
Outstanding stuff.
I would say, so the crowd was, I think there was like a 21,000 seat arena or something like that. And it was very full. It wasn't to the brim, but it looked like it had been more or less sold out. And it was loud, very loud, very exciting, and everything delivered to what I thought it could be.
Yeah.
Like, it was so worth it to
It was
go on the trip. Even if
absolutely
we
worth
didn't
it.
get to meet all the 100 talkers, which was way better than actually going to the event, still, the event itself was so good that I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things where it reaffirms that League of Legends is like the premier esport in a lot of ways. Just so exciting. I mean, like the suspense in these games was next level. Like, and just the energy in the building, as you know, you could tell a play was coming. I went back and rewatched the Faker Rise escape
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know, outplay. Just like, and like I lost control of my body during that play. You know, like I had completely fallen from my chair. I mean, I was desperately grabbing to try to hold on to you to not just fall completely.
My shoulder's
But
still
it's just,
sore.
yeah, it's a death grip. But man, what a game! It's, you know, we had a blast when we went to the LCS arena in 2020, February 2020. Think about that date. Um, and it's just so good to be back for live League of Legends, and I really hope that we get to do more of these in some capacity.
In 2036, when League of Legends returns to NA for an
Yeah,
exhibition because there's no more
I'm
NA.
That's right. We are just the hosts. We're so glad you're here and you're still playing this game. That's pretty impressive. You guys stuck with it. But something Valorant, whatever they're calling the franchise that is the Western
The
hemisphere,
Americas, right? They're
the
calling it
Americas.
Americas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I'd love to go see some Valorant live. Anyway, it was great.
And we got to see an icon in person, which
That's
that
also
was
true.
amazing. So seeing like the reverence everybody has for Faker when he like walked in, you know, how everybody went crazy. Seeing him, I know it was a moment on the broadcast when they showed his reaction to that Azir play, and it was like,
Yeah,
yeah, obviously meant something to him. I mean, that was palpable in the crowd. Like you remember when they showed that replay, our whole
yeah,
section noticed how he was like looking and feeling and reacted to it, you know? It was like
yeah.
it was awesome.
It
It
was
was just like,
so hyped.
yeah,
Yes. That you so rarely see that from him.
yeah,
Um, he was having himself a game.
yeah. It was really fun. I was blown away by it. Um, very happy
Also,
we did that.
the memes of Faker's screen have been. I don't even know if
Yeah.
they're memes. Is it considered a meme if it's just a video and unedited video
I mean,
of?
I saw edits too, but yeah,
I did
yeah,
see
yeah,
some
yeah.
edits, but just more the ones that are truly mind-boggling are the ones that are not edited.
Yeah,
That's
right.
just that's how this guy plays League of Legends.
Yeah. It was like was it Tens who was warming up that one time in Valorant and they were showing his screen. It was just like shh, 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 shh. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
What did we just see? Loved it. Anyway, so Atlanta trip was super good, and especially to the people who came and hung out with us, thank you. Uh, just love all of you guys. It was so much fun. What about finals? So last, or I guess 2 nights ago, we got to tune in to the finals and watch an unbelievable, unforgettable, gotta be the best final series ever, right?
So crazy.
And I don't know if you've been able to fully catch up. I was watching live. I know you were not. I
I
don't
was
know if
kind
you've.
of in and out
Okay,
watching live,
yeah.
yeah.
That I thought it was gonna be 3-0. Because you know what
Mhm.
happens with these buildups. It's always like a 3-0
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a letdown and whatever. And T1 looked so good. And DRX, I felt like just kept squeaking by. I was like, nah, they're not gonna do it. T1's gonna 3-0 them. And lo and behold, we got just this incredible. I think like my favorite part about the whole thing was just the objective stealing. There were
Oh,
so many objective steals in surprising ways.
bro, they were playing for MEP. That's what was happening.
Yeah, dude, it felt like Rec League games. Like every time you think it's over, it felt
Yeah.
like a Rec League game. And I don't know what was the run time on that final game. It felt like it was like 45 minutes on the final
Oh, it
game.
was
It
long.
was
Yeah.
so tense, man. I just like I loved every second of that. Um we got our money's worth from these semifinals and these finals. And if an NA team would have been in there, we probably would not have.
No, I had the thought, Cole, because early this Worlds, people were like, there's a big conversation about the 4 seed. Like, why are we bringing 4 teams from any region? It just means this is why. Like, this is the reason. 1, who doesn't love a good underdog story? 2, like the ability. I mean, how many times? So I feel like we've had a couple big, high profile matchups, semifinals, finals, where it's just not. It's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
And you leave. It just leaves such a disappointing, feeling after all that buildup. So yeah, to get this is like it doesn't really matter what path you have to take to get here. Just more of this, please.
Living up to the narrative hype is a virtual impossibility, right?
Yeah.
And everything with Faker and Deft was so insane. It was like, okay, there's no way it can deliver. It's much like LeBron James, right? Like before he came into the league, everyone's like, he's the chosen one. He's, whatever. And there was no way he was going to live up to the hype. Somehow he exceeded the hype, lived up to the hype and exceeded it. And that's what happened with these finals. Oh my goodness. I think like I need to rewatch the whole series at some point. You should just VOD squad it. Have some fun.
Yep. I would happily VOD squad it.
Oh man. Well, what a treat that was for everybody. Speaking of treats, let's look at this. Yeah.
Those teams, I would say those teams are likely going to be better than any of the NA teams next year.
Given what we've heard.
Maybe premature to already make this. We haven't seen the roster, but there does seem to be a gap, I would say. And it's going to take some time, if ever, to close that gap. We just got to accept that, move on, enjoy what we can enjoy. It would be like, Cole, you've made this analogy in the past and I like it a lot. Look, when people who love their college football teams, they don't love them less because they're not as good as the NFL teams, right?
Yeah.
You recognize what you are signed up for and you accept it and you embrace it and you celebrate it. And it's fortunate for the college teams that they don't have to then at the end of the season, after they're tired, play the NFL teams, right? We do. So let's just accept that, because I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. LCK seems to be fine. They seem to be doing fine.
They're all right.
They're in good shape.
Well said.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. All right, let's take a look. Let's really quickly address this 100 Thieves apparel drop that happened.
Yeah.
We have talked, I think I have alluded to it a couple times on like Rec League or whatever, and I think I tweeted some more extensive thoughts on this, but I definitely wanted to revisit this a bit and just take a look at some of the stuff that we got in here and make some observations. As like a whole, I think like this was a really, really, really impressive drop. I am to the point where I have so much 100 Thieves stuff that like I lack nothing, right? And still, I found myself looking at this drop that had 32 items and feeling like, you know what? I kind of would do all of this if money wasn't an object.
Yeah.
I was very surprised about that. I was not as confident in the direction of the drops. And then the alumni drop happened and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. This is kind of promising. And then this drop happened and it wasn't just, some t-shirts and hoodies and like sweatpants with 100 Thieves on them. And then that's it. Right. This was a full cohesive collection of clothing. We got our first ever chinos, which are on screen, by the way. We got chinos in this drop, which they've never done before. We had a few variants of jackets. We had a puffer jacket, certainly, a new item. We had what seems to be the model that they're going for these days, which is like they have some normal variants of the items, and then they'll have like one colorway that's a little wilder, right? Like the snow camo bucket hat, right?
Yeah.
Like the snow camo thing. It's like, okay, this is a little bit of a throwback to some of the wilder stuff that Her Thieves does that fans have eaten up a lot in the past. The black, red, and blue color combo on like the fleece, right, and the matching pants and stuff, very interesting. And then we had, they sometimes toss in these items that kind of harken to Supreme's DNA, where they put, they do like a non-apparel item that's maybe a little unusual, you wouldn't expect. And we got a card holder, as you see here, and a doormat of all things, right? Now, I bought the doormat and the card holder.
You can still get the card holder.
You can, yeah. It's you can get the doormat too. There's a lot of stuff still available. The hoodies are sold out, I believe, and the chinos are sold out, and maybe some of the moss fleece jacket. Just in general, the green items sold really well. Like this color sold really, really well.
It's pretty on trend, if my trend radar is correct.
The puffers were very interesting. So Nadeshot had tweeted that the jackets, maybe he said on stream, like the jackets are going to be $172. And I assumed, because this was a puffer, that he must have meant the waterproof jacket. So I was surprised to see this puffer come in at just $172. I think this is very reasonable for what you got. I don't think all of the materials in this collection are like the most premium and it's the nicest stuff, but I think all the price points make sense to me. This $165 for this like waterproof jacket, which for those who have had it, I've heard nothing but really good things about it. Breathable. I heard it is like a little tight, I think, in the armpit area, but very waterproof, breathable, feels nice. That's all like really great. And as part of a huge cohesive collection of 32 items, that's even more impressive. This waffle that we're looking at, waffle had never been done yet. I prefer like the whale on the waffles to be a little bit wider in general, but this is an actual item I bought. I bought the moss long sleeve waffle. The t-shirts were embroidered this time around, which is pretty amazing because we usually get a screen printed 100 Thieves logo rather than the embroidery. I am a little sad that the chinos are mostly sold out. I guess there's a couple sizes left in moss, because I would like to try the fit on those. Looking at the flats, it's like, hey, they actually did relax the fit. You can see it's a straight leg fit just from the flat. Maybe it's not. Yeah, their stuff tends to be pretty tight, I think. Like when it comes to the pants, they fit pretty snug, and this doesn't look like it'll have that problem. So I don't know. I just looked at this collection and I thought, there's so much variety here. There's definitely something for everyone, and it's executed well, and the price points make sense to me. Overall, has to be the best drop. It may not be the most memorable. I think like the baseball jersey and the geography hoodie, those are like moments in time, But when it comes to releasing an apparel collection, this is a really, really well done drop. I think like we're going back in the direction that Numbers was starting to go in, and Numbers was maybe a little bit further out there than this, but to me, these two consecutive drops, Alumni in this fall winter 2022, we're headed in the right direction with this stuff. And man, if only I had $5,000 to just spend on all of it. But I don't know. How did it hit you?
Still, yeah, no, I mean, I similar to you, I feel like I could have very easily dropped a cool grand if money was no object. Like I live in a colder climate. These things would be fantastic additions to my my wardrobe. I might still go back for something. We'll see.
Mhm. We actually, that's funny. We were at the beer garden in Atlanta with the 100 Talkers when this drop happened, and all of us were kind of on our phones, trying to make it
Yeah.
happen in the moment. It was really fun.
Yeah, I think for me, the thing I like about it is it doesn't just feel like variations on a theme, right? Either like a couple crazy designs and a hat and a hoodie. Like these are new items. It's new ways to think about it, new spaces. That's pretty cool. I like that. And I think, like you said, they all look like they are well done. And I
This
hope some
black
more
on
of this
black
kind of
is
stuff.
sick, dude. Oh my god.
I know.
So
Yeah, that's a good one.
I will say, unfortunately, where I live is very difficult for them to ship to for whatever reason. So lots of people have already gotten their stuff, and I was
Yeah.
shipped a week ago and still have not seen it. And
Dang it.
I know that's first world problem, right? It's like, man, it's taken a full week and I still haven't gotten my stuff. But at the same time, it's like, it is kind of weird in this day and age,
Yeah.
right? And so I wish I lived closer. Like I think Sandwich had his items like in 2 days or something like that. It's just kind of crazy. But yeah, it's things just do not tend to reach me very quickly. I bought for reference, I bought the doormat, the card holder, the royal beanie, and the moss waffle.
What do you make of like if you go to the shop right now,
Mm-hmm.
there's a fair number of items available.
Yeah, across multiple collections.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you make of that? Is that just you think that's just them keeping stock up? Is it
I think it's a combination of the 100 Thieves hype for apparel has died down a bit. You see that even with the OG items, right, that are super valuable for collectors or whatever. They're actually not fetching as high resale prices anymore. I think that they have increased stock levels. I definitely get that sense. I know I was told that for like a couple drops ago, and I assume that that's carrying through. I think also people have so much stuff now that like they're starting to pick. It's starting to be like, all right, I'm not buying everything I see. I'm going to pick one or two items, especially because prices have increased a bit. Even though I still think the value prop is there. Like even for, I think shorts is one of the items that's complained about the most because like, they tend to be $65, $70 or something. I live in those shorts and they're really good. So,
yeah.
I don't really feel a way about that, but I understand if people want to.
Yeah. I grabbed the track shorts from the alumni. Wore them all weekend at Atlanta.
Yeah.
I love those shorts. Those are great. And it's
Yeah.
like a new I also wear my sweat shorts all the time, but these are a new one.
Yeah.
For me.
So I get it if people, aren't fully in love with the price points or whatever, but yeah, I think there's just a lot of options right now and people who are fans have kind of gotten a lot of stuff and so now they're just being a little more picky. A lot of different tastes have been hit at this point,
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's an interesting time for 100 Thieves. I still would assume that these collections are selling relatively well. But yeah, I think they just have stock on hand and the days of instant sellouts are gone except for, the top desired items. And that's ultimately a good thing for us as buyers, right?
Yep.
So
yep.
I was looking at actually, it looks like I'm wondering if Foundations 21. Yeah, there's still like a good amount of Foundations 2021 stuff, which is awesome because that breast logos. Guys, 100 Thieves, anyone's listening, please, breast logos. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff there, and that's awesome too. This is because that was really solid collection. I love Foundations. May have to buy more shorts. They're so good. They're so good. Hey, last year, by the way, I'm fairly certain they did either a Christmas sale or a Black Friday sale, right?
Ooh, that's right.
So maybe we have that to look forward to if you're, hoping to still purchase some items. That might be an option. So we'll just see.
Like, yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
I might just wait and see.
Okay. We don't have a ton of listener takes. Let's try and run through them. I
Okay.
think a lot of this stuff we've already talked about, but we'll run through there. And then, Nate Shot said on stream apparently that there will be a sale. So awesome.
Nice.
Okay. Nick Moore said, knowing what we do know now, how would you regrade last season's offseason moves? Namely, staying put plus tenacity, and then getting rid of Ken V, Luger, and Poom.
That's an interesting one. I hadn't really thought about that through the lens of like Ken V, Luger, Poom. I mean, I think you could actually make the argument, or at least ask the question of like longer term, is Luger Poom a more lasting? Will they continue to play together at CLG next split? But like, are they actually a higher performing bot lane than where FBI and Huhi landed at the end of the split? It's an interesting question to ask.
They
Like,
certainly were
you got to
cheaper.
imagine. Yeah. Yep. And you got to imagine that from an upside potential or perspective, there's more there. So, yeah, it's a fun little thought experiment. I could see, although I'll tell you what, you then have the same thing with Busio, and I think you go Busio. So I don't think you do anything differently. I mean, I
Yeah,
still
that's the
think it's our
thing.
best shot.
Ultimately,
Yep.
I think we got the best result out of what
Yeah.
our options were.
Yep. I think it was our best shot at a differential result, and we took our shot, and we didn't quite hit it. That's fine.
Yeah. MD Gooner, that's not Miller time, but Miller time, 1990, if you remember him. He says, why does it truly feel like 100T is taking a major step backwards in their funding of the league team? It feels like they are about to be an afterthought. I really hope I'm wrong and they make big moves, but losing Papa and Reapered in the same offseason seems sus. Now, I'll say for a more detailed answer on this, you can refer to our last podcast because we talked about the why of this a lot, because we're obviously picking up the same thing about the spending, and the why is for investment purposes and return. So I think that that's clear. When it comes to he said it feels like they're about to be an afterthought on the content, and it still does seem like that, and that's sad.
Yeah. Yep.
It is expensive and difficult to make league content. It takes like thought and planning outside of everybody's duties that they're already doing. But man, it would be nice to get a little more window into the teams. I think it's one of the reasons why we loved this team from the start was the content side. And so not getting as much of that fuel for the fire definitely hurts a bit. So hoping that will change. Not necessarily optimistic that it will, because again, it's kind of like, yeah, hey guys, will you please continue to spend a lot of time and money making really cool videos because I like them, and not because you're being rewarded financially for doing so. It's a tough ask,
Right. You just got to commit to buy more stuff from the advertisers on those videos, and then they'll keep it going.
Yeah.
You personally.
Squizmatic had a more drastic take on this. Squizmatic has been going off on Twitter, by the way. It's been kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. He gave a long take. He says, hot take, 100T pulls out of League of Legends in the next 2 to 3 years. Nade Shot is an FPS guy and shows more love to Valorant and COD. Lack of content around League of Legends shows management is not very interested. Same goes for lack of anything really around Worlds. There was a merch drop on match day, and we had nobody in Atlanta for like a limited booth even. You can do easy content without spending lots of money and resources, and they just did nothing. In my opinion, it shows the lack of interest from upper leadership. If or when we don't keep our winning standard in the next few years, I can see them selling the LCS spot altogether for capital, as they are divested enough now to not need the team. They will focus on Project X, Valorant, COD, merch, etc. I don't think it's that drastic for them. I think League is in the DNA of the org, and I think they will continue to compete in it. But definitely, I feel the lack of resources seems to be a theme. Maybe it's a situation where they're going to try and squeeze more out of the orange, and hopefully they can make that work. But yeah, it does seem like we're in not a great situation, but I just cannot see that leading to selling the spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but I almost feel like you probably want to ask the finance guy, like, what does he think? Because it's going to come down to the numbers.
Jason
Yeah.
will never interview with us because that question.
No, nor should he. That's it would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
Here's how I'd see it. I think it's less likely that they would sell because they'd be selling at a huge loss, right?
Yeah.
So, however much there's not going to be any buyer, and here's I think is the flip side of that. If you could sell and reimburse your investment and maybe even make some money, the overall scene would have to be in such a different and more healthy spot that that's not the time you want to get out. And so I'm not convinced that it's kind of like, look, you're in now. And that's the idea with these franchising
They're
things,
upside down, right?
Yeah.
It's like the housing crisis. They're upside down. You can't really go anywhere, right?
And for some of these teams, I think it's like, well, we just can't afford this. We can't make this work. We have to sell at a loss. And this is a nightmare that I've had many times. And here we are. I don't think we're there. I think we're more financially secure because of how diversified we are. So I think we stick it out. I think we'd like to continue winning in league. Like I don't doubt that. I don't question that. I just think that right now, what do you do? Are you going to spend $10 million on a program to win a game at Worlds? Like why? Why is the question I have. I don't think there's a clear answer for that. I think best thing you do is play the long game and kind of ride out this really rocky period of time where funding is a big question.
Yeah. Darkuth says, in lieu of roster talk, too late, sorry. I would like to request you both just ask each other why 100T decided to essentially completely ignore their most fun team ever over and over for an hour and a half. Thank you. That was his suggestion for the pod. So to honor Darkuth, who is very honorable, Jordan,
yes.
Why did 100T decide to essentially completely ignore the most fun team ever?
Because nobody liked to watch it.
Okay, now your turn to ask me.
Cole, any thoughts on why we decided to completely ignore this team?
Because nobody watched it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Correction. We watched it, and that was about it.
Yeah, yeah.
JC 101. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody knows how to do league content.
Not right now. Nope. The old ways are not working. JC 101 says, fiery volcano take. It may be a bit early to say, but 100 Thieves wins Worlds next year.
JC, come on now.
JC.
I love it. Like what? There's no better time to make that statement.
To call your shot on that.
We're not sure if we have a GM. We're not sure if we have any players, but I'm calling it now. I actually got the tattoo to back it up. 100 Thieves.
No. That poor World T1 guy.
23. Yeah, I saw that.
All right. Noxwar says, no questions, just a request to take great care of Takui since the rumors have dictated him going to 100T. Thank you.
Wow.
I don't see it. If we get him, we'll take good care of him. I don't see it, right? That doesn't seem like it happens.
I almost, and I kind of feel like I think he would command a pretty big price. Like, I think that dude has shown that he can play and he's, like domestic talent and he's a mid laner. I don't know if we're going to be willing to splash the cash, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Carl Scale 1 says, do you guys have any concern that a team that has made 3 straight finals seems to be totally blowing it up and starting fresh? I get needing to make some changes, but the announcements and rumors suggest things are going to look way different next year. So first of all, we should say we don't know. Maybe there's a rabbit in the hat that's going to get pulled out. But assuming, yes, that we're blowing it up. If we have concerns about that, no, because it's kind of like, first of all, the economic environment we've talked about ad nauseum. But when it comes to team building too, it's like this is what happens with rosters, right? They hit their peak and then they're blown up, and then you restart, and you may hold on to one or two key pieces, but then you have to get there again in a different way. That's kind of the normal pattern of things. So no, I'm not concerned with that. I'm sad that it happened, but it was a thing that we had the roster that had been together the longest, like probably ever, right? It was like 3 straight splits of the same roster. Is basically unheard of. So no, I'm not surprised, and I'm not concerned, even though I don't think it's going to be very fun next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
And then one more, clicking buttons said Cass from Mad Lions is a good pickup and I think is needed. I also think it's a good sign for post Papa Smithy, as he's worked with Mad Lions, a team that is known for recruiting young talent pre and post Peter Dunn. I don't know enough about the history of Mad Lions and what they've been doing, especially on the developmental side. So I can't evaluate your claims there, but assuming that they're true, I do think like you want somebody that's going to fit the ideas of, what you are trying to accomplish, right? Reapered is the kind of coach to manage really high powered talent and try and win. You might need a rebuild coach, right? For a time like this. And if Cass is that guy, Cass is that guy.
Yeah. I think that, the other thing I'll say about the coaches, we've talked about this in the past, how like the coaching bench is just not that deep in NA specifically. Not to say that it's a lot deeper in any other region, but like list the coaches from NA that you would be really excited to get. It's not that long, and we've probably had some of them already. We've definitely had one of them. So I like this because it, regardless of what you think about the LEC, like it is another environment that feels familiar enough, and where I think you can pretty easily find a coach who's philosophically aligned with what you're trying to do. So I think it's a clever move. I like to see it. It broadens the pool a little bit when you're fishing for a new coach. And it's not like Mad Lions has been a very successful team lately. So that's good to see. I know that they didn't have a great season by end of season, but
who did, right?
That's not how you evaluate the capabilities of this one coach. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I think that's going to do it for now. I think I have a thing actually on Thursday night, so I don't think we're going to do Rec League this Thursday, but we'll be around the week after that. We hopefully have a couple of content things coming soon, so we'll get on that and just kind of keep you guys apprised as we usually do. But this is the off season, so we won't be streaming quite as often. If there's any big announcements, we'll probably try and do emergency pods, and maybe we'll do a little bit of Odd Squad,
There you go.
It'll be fun. Holly asks, Rec League on Thanksgiving? Absolutely not. My wife would end my life if I tried to pull that one off. So,
can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very funny. That's very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we'll be in touch with you guys soon, and we love you and we miss you already.